Metal Talk.
This is Jimmy Bennett of King James, and you're listening to Metal Talk, live with Wow Man and Steve.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Metal Talk Live. We are so excited to be here. I am your host, Pastor Wildman.
And I'm Steve Perkins. And before we get going tonight, we want to do a big shout out to our good friend and brother in Christ, Anthony Martinez Lanza from Honduras. Anthony's been such a great support to us with his program, Classic Christian Rock Zine. That's Z-I-N-E, ClassicChristianRockZine.com. Thanks to Anthony for graphics for us and supporting us and having a platform to host our podcast and so forth, all things metal and all things Christian. So thanks, Anthony. We sure appreciate you, brother.
Yes, we do, Anthony. We're so glad because it's one of those things, you know, it's not cliche. This is really the truth. If it wasn't for him, we would not be doing this right now. And we are so happy to have his support and all the expertise he brings to us. So make sure you go to the site, ClassicChristianRockZine.com. But now, this is Metal Talk Live. This is our first episode of Season 1. How does that make you feel, Steve?
You know what? It makes me feel good. The only thing that would be better would be to be an actual metal concert, but to be talking with you about things that matter, things as we see them through the lens of Scripture, with a good weaving of metal music in between the conversation. Man, I feel it's fantastic.
Yes, I agree with you there. This is great. So I have a question for you, Stephen. Actually, what I'd like for you to do, and you never know where I'm going to go with this, and I never know where you're going to go. That's the way things happen around here. But if I want to ask you if you would you be willing to ask me a question?
Would I be willing to ask you a question? Yes, I would be willing to ask you a question.
Okay, so
would you like me to ask you a question now?
Yes, I'll tell you exactly the question I'd like for you to ask. See, that's how I like to get good answers. I like to tell people to ask me the question that I want them to ask. Are you willing to do that, Steve?
I am, although I'm going to confess straight up, this is a little odd. Yes, absolutely.
Well, of course it is. This is live Metal Talk with Wildman and Steve. Of course it's odd. So, here's the question I'd like for you to ask. I would like for you to ask me simply, what is your question of the day?
Pastor Wildman, what is your question of the day?
Well, I'm glad you asked. My question of the day is this, Steve. Are you ready? Here's my question of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Does the media influence or reflect culture?
Oh, so you're going to go there? You're going to go with a hard question?
I mean, you're a Latin teacher. I didn't know there were hard questions for you. I mean,
no. Here's the thing. See, as a teacher, I would tell you that the questions on the exam should be kind of progressive, right? So you start first question, second question, kind of easy, nice, simple, pitch over the middle of the plate.
Yeah,
and then you work up to the tougher questions. You, sir, shot right out of the cannon with a tough question. It's an essay question. And most kids would just probably put their head down on the desk, turn the test in blank. Okay, so are you wanting me to answer this? Are you seriously wanting to talk about this?
Well, I mean, to a certain degree. I mean, we don't have to get into the Latin meanings and all that stuff. Exactly. I mean, if you wanted me to, I could have started off with 2 + 2 = 4, or asked you to what is 2 + 2. Maybe that would have been better to start off with.
I'd appreciate that. And just for folks who are wondering, the answer to that, of course, is 5. And there's a reason I don't teach math. Does media reflect, or does it report on the culture? Kind of describe.
Right. Does it reflect or influence? Does it reflect or influence?
reflector. Don't you think that it's a combination of both, especially in the current age? I think where in the past you think media maybe just radio, right, before even the advent of television, or just newspaper, and there was very much a reflection. It was reporting the news, and certainly there was some shaping, but not to the level of today. Today, I'd say it's probably 50-50, where there's the reporting and describing things going on in the culture. But because there's so much of that reporting and in so many different venues, like this, like live stream, podcasts, videos, tweets, Snapchat, Facebook, you name it, there's so many different ways. I think that has increased the shaping power of media.
Well, you know what? You know who gets the star today for a great answer? That, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Steve Perkins. Could you have asked for a better answer from somebody when you hit him with a question like that was that difficult? Thank you very much, Steve. I really appreciate that. So, listeners, I want you to think about everything that Steve just shared, and hopefully later on in the show today we will come back to that topic if you're game for it, Steve. But in the meantime, I would like to hear some metal. Would you, Steve?
I'm always good for some metal.
Yes, and I really would love to hear some chaotic metal tonight. Tonight we are devoting the show to the band Chaotic Resemblance, and here they are with Riot Anthem.
This is Metal Talk. Wild Man and Steve.
How can we be the general?
All right, that was Riot Anthem by Chaotic Resemblance. It is time now, ladies and gentlemen, for the Tweet of the Week. The Tweet of the Week.
He tweeted out this. He says, Christ himself is our peace, who has made the two groups one and has destroyed the barrier, the dividing wall of hostility. His purpose was to create in himself one new humanity, thus making peace in one body to reconcile both of them to God through the cross. And that was a summary, he says, of Ephesians 2:13 through 16.
Tweet of the Week. All right, well, that's a great tweet. Why, Steve? Why did you choose that as the tweet of the week?
You know, I chose that because there is so much division going on in our country and in the world, and I'm not going to add and say right now, because I don't think that's true. I think there has always been so much division. It's been there, whether we've noticed it or not. And a lot of people are noticing that division right now. Some of the division may seem to be getting worse, but there's division, there's separation, there's brokenness between groups and among groups. And I don't know what you think. Actually, I do know what you think, but it isn't going to be any government program. It's not going to be anything that I teach. It's not going to be anything that we can throw money at that's going to fix any of that. There is only one source that can bring people together and heal division, and that is Jesus Christ. And when I saw that tweet from Mark, I thought, wow, that is it. And that is so appropriate for people who are feeling the pain of division when they realize that they can come to Jesus and that Jesus can bring about healing and restoration.
Wow. You know, I was having a discussion like that today regarding how do we address current issues, current events, and I think I'm hearing what you're saying and what Mark is saying through that tweet. I believe that what is being said is that the gospel is the answer. That, you know, I had a mentor friend of mine years ago when it comes to the preaching aspect of things. And he said that with all of his years of preaching, that the idea of hitting people where they're at, he stopped attempting it. For example, if he got word that somebody was going through a marital issue in his church, you know, the pastors are inclined, well, I better preach a series on marriage. Or if there's family issues or alcoholism or whatever it might be that's coming up, I need to preach a series on that particular topic. Now, nothing against that God can use that. No one's questioning that. But he would say it this way. He would always joke and say, the reason I don't try to hit people when I preach, meaning the reason I don't try to target certain people and what they're going through, he